I guess we would let it build up.
Yes, they're building an audience.
So while they're building, introduce the people that we're on a couple lives right now. So they introduce to the people that may not know, have the pleasure of knowing who you are.
Okay, hi guys. I'm Tammy Peay. I'm here at the Ballroom Throwbacks studio, and we're here to cover a story that took a little turn at the last minute, and our interviewee decided that for legal reasons he didn't feel safe to speak out in reference to being a victim. That just, to me, sheds light on how scared people really are of being victimized, and how this is the type of things that people go through that created this thing, the down low. This is, I'm being honest with you, because people just fear being lashed out at. People fear people getting fired from their jobs. People have so much fear that the person doesn't even want to tell people that Christmas Day, he was on his way home from work, and Ejan, his nickname is AJ, he offered his seat to a woman on the train, and the woman said she didn't want to sit near black people. And he still got up to give her the seat, and he was then attacked and slashed and cut or whatever. And in front of 20 or 30 witnesses, this transpired. And there was little to no media coverage. I heard the story from a girlfriend of mine from the UK who asked me, what happened with the trans man who was slashed on the subway? And so I hadn't heard of the story. So when I didn't hear the story, I started to dig, and as I dug, I found one or two little small thumbnail articles from US media outlets, and they referred to the man, the trans man, as just, you know, a man. I don't know any time in the media, when trans people are in the media, that the media passes up the opportunity to call Lisa Leonard. I've never seen them do that they failed to say it was a transgender person. And in a way, to me, it looked like it was calculated. I don't know, it just looked to me like, why wouldn't they say it was a transgender person? Any other time trans people are in the news, like when Chrissy Jackson had the situation on the train where something transpired between a gentleman and herself, and she cut his ass with a razor, and she said, I'm going to get away with it. She's a very pretty girl. I'm going to get away with it. I'm going to cut you, and I'm going to get away with it. That girl was on the front page of the newspaper. That girl was on every media outlet. Every time you turned on the news, she was scared to come out of her house. They really went to the limit putting this girl on the line. Why, when the transgender person was a victim, was this all of a sudden a thumbnail story that nobody should know about? I really feel bad for the victim, because he fears legal action. He doesn't want to say anything that can incriminate himself, and I don't know why he would have that fear, because there is no case. The case was heard before the grand jury, and from what I'm understanding, the grand jury didn't hear the case. They didn't find anything worth indicting the young lady who was the perpetrator in this case. Now, what does this say? That we can all get a razor blade and go on a train and start slashing people because we know the grand jury is not going to hear the case? No, we can't do that. Because if we were to do it, we'd be on the front page of the paper like Chrissy. So, with that being said, I just want the community to understand that we don't have an option to be scared. You don't have, fear is not going to protect you. No one has ever been protected by fear, and when you run, it's okay that you get away, but someone else gets it behind you. So does this mean that we're going to be targeted now even more so because nothing was done. When they don't see, it's just like in the hospital. If an older person doesn't have visitors, they don't have family, nobody calls to check on them, those are the old people with bed sores that people don't take care of. We have to let people know that we have a community that stands behind us. And Akeem with the DC Trans Men Alliance, thank you for reaching out and letting people know that you had their back. And I saw that Kim Watson was on the Facebook post letting him know that she had his back. This young man needs support from this community, and for him to know that people are willing to go to bat for you, but nobody can fight for you if you're not willing to fight for yourself. So with that being said, that was supposed to be the big story today, and I see we have comments on the phone, but I can't read it. Why aren't the comments coming up? Okay, so what's been going on in 2016 that we're hoping for in 2017? Rest in peace, everybody in Hollywood. When I say everybody died this year but Diana Ross. Everybody died. It's like every time you turn on the news, every day it was another celebrity. And it's like Debbie Reynolds just took the easy way out. Like, her daughter died, she said, you know what, I'm not doing no funeral arrangements, I can't go through all of this, I'm going with my child. I was like, damn. Black people don't have that. I've had my family die. I have never had that kind of luck where I could just check out. I just thought she did really, she just checked out. And George Michael and so many other people. And then it was the fiasco with Kim Burrell.
Well, let's talk about Kim Burrell.
Yeah, I was victim. I didn't attack Kim.
Let's talk about it. What happened? Let's bring it up again. They've been talking about it heavy throughout the weekend, throughout today.
Because it was so offensive. It was so hurtful.
So let me ask you a question. Should people be offended? Should people... I have a question to you. Are people overreacting? Do she have a right to her opinion? Do we give celebrities too much power to feel what they want to feel and make it effective? Like, what is your take on the whole Kim Burrell thing?
I think that as a pastor, you are a shepherd. And when I say a shepherd, that means you're in charge of a flock. You see shepherds, their job is to keep the flock together and to move the flock in transition from one place to another. And don't lose any sheep. That's what your job is as a shepherd. I think that Kim dropped the ball. I think Kim didn't even drop the ball. She threw the ball. I think Kim just didn't, and I call her Kim, but I don't even feel comfortable calling her a reverend or a pastor at this point. I just never saw such a blatant display of tactless hatred in my life, and it looked personal in nature. It didn't look like the regular y'all going to hell. It was something personal, I believe, that happened in her life for her to come in there. Like, she looked like she got dressed in the closet. She looked, her hair was all over her head, no makeup on. She looked really rough. And I don't know who in her church put that video out, but trust me, they in meetings right now. You know, they track that tape down. Who put that out? Because she was supposed to...
I don't believe she ever thought it was going to get out.
You know what I thought she thought? I thought she didn't think it was going to get out. Because I don't think she would have said it because she has so much to lose, considering she's been around so many people who've been so gay friendly and gay affiliated in the industry. Frank Ocean, Whitney Houston, so many people she's been around. I don't understand how she could really think it was okay to say this, except she was in her feelings, she was emotional, and she was angry. Something happened to that woman for her to do that. And my thing is, the pulpit is not your soapbox or your rant room. A pulpit is not for you to get up there and rant about your personal stuff. The pulpit is for you to speak and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's what you're supposed to do from a pulpit. Jesus Christ never talked about gay people. All the time Jesus was on earth, I never read one passage in the Bible where Jesus Christ was thrashing the gays. I heard him get the gamblers and the liars, and I heard him get a whole bunch of people, but I never saw Jesus Christ get the gays. So when people do this, whose gospel are you preaching? Because it's not the gospel of Jesus Christ. And when she got so graphic, and if I were a parent and I had my son in the room, I would be uncomfortable with her talking about men with penises in their mouth and opening and penis in your face, and that was a bit graphic and tacky to me. And I just don't feel. I think Kim dropped the ball big time. And
so let's talk about her comeback, her video. What do you think about that? With her version of, I guess, PR.
She tried to do damage control.
I think that was the worst thing for her to do at the time.
And to me, the damage control was even more insulting because it wasn't real, it wasn't sincere, and she was trying to stand firm to appeal to the other hate mongers in her following. At the same time, I never said the word LGBT, and I never said anyone was going to hell. Who am I? No, you didn't say they were going to hell. What you said is that you were condemning them to death, that they would die playing in a house of God for 2017. Now, whatever happened in Kim's personal life, Kim felt the need to go into her church and say anybody in here who is afflicted or possessed with the homosexual spirit, they had to go. This telling you that something happened for her to come in and feel this way. And I want gay people to know that don't let Kim separate you from God or from church. And know that when you find preachers, because I do stand-up comedy, and most people don't know that. And when you do stand-up comedy, people will, when you can tell when a comedian is not prepared for a show. When a comedian is not prepared for a show, that's when you see a comedian come through the door, beeline to the stage, and attack the audience. That's exactly what they do. Whenever you see a comedian to come in and start picking on people in the audience, that's a comedian who was not prepared for the show. Kim was not prepared for a sermon, because that was not a sermon. That was not a sermon. I don't see where anybody learned anything. I don't see where anybody was delivered, and I don't see where anybody could have gotten anything out of that but hurt feelings. And that's not your job to hurt God's people. So I don't care if she likes what I said about her. What I said about her still stands true, and I'm not backpedaling. I don't see how you could sit on these shows with all of these people, because I've been through the thing where I didn't want to be gay. Some people don't know it has to be something biological with being gay. Who the hell would choose this? Who the hell would choose to disappoint your family, to disappoint your friends, to have to go and tell people this is... Who felt comfortable with this? This has to be something biological or something that people have no control over. Why would you think it was okay to do that? There was a tactful way for her to address it. If you're going to address sin, I don't see people in church coming in here saying every cheater going to get out of this door today. I've never seen anybody do that.
So let's pose a question to the viewers, and I want everybody to be honest out there. If you could choose your sexuality from birth, would you choose to be gay? And I want all of you guys to chime in there. What would you do if you had a choice? And
but it's just a question. Who would really choose to love somebody and could never have a child for them?
Let's see what the people say.
Okay, let's see. Hold on. Let me see what the people say.
There's people on here. I want to take Tammy. They love you. People saying that the damage control was worse.
Yeah, it was worse. She was looking scary, and she was looking like she had been up all night, and to me she looked like first of all, I didn't know she was only 44. That was the key. I was like, ooh.
The bad 44?
Yeah, I thought she was much older than. Didn't you think she was older than 44?
I never thought about her age.
Child.
They said she was looking for validation in her response. She didn't come across remorseful at all.
No, she didn't come across remorseful, but what it is she was really trying to appease the people.
A lot of people said they would choose to be straight.
Most people would choose to be straight, and this is what some ignorant people don't understand when you don't read a book and when you don't ask questions.
So let me ask this though: when you say that you choose to be straight, does that make straight people think that we even think that it's wrong, us being gay?
It's not about it being wrong, and there's not a such thing as right or wrong. And when people use the word pervert, to be a pervert is sleeping with animals and wanting to have sex with children. Those are things that are perverted. Gay is nothing new. Gay is nothing new, and it's not something that's a perversion. And when people think we're oversexed and that we have sex with anybody and everybody, all gay people are not like that. I see you straight people go out to the club, have 2 shots, and then be tongue kissing strangers. Everybody, to me, the whole society is oversexed. It's not just gay people. But as far as choosing my sexuality, of course I would choose to have a regular life and have a husband and children and have had a family, and I don't think that anybody would have chose this life and said, okay, cool, I want to be gay. I don't think anybody chooses this, because look how many people you hurt when you came out. Look how much trauma you caused in your mother's lives, and disappointing people, and feeling the whole transition of trying to piece your life together after coming out. Who the hell would choose this? And then people were saying I cursed Kim out. I don't think I cursed Kim out. I think I talked about her ass because she talked about other people, and then to act offended because people address you. People in church always feel that homosexuality is the only sin. Homosexuality is not the only sin. It's not the only sin. If it is a sin, because it didn't, I told you, it didn't reach the Bible to 1946. There's a lot of things in the Bible that it says that you people don't do. The Bible says that you should be a slave and respect and honor and obey your masters. Do you do that?
Nick, I like that question. A lot of people on here are saying straight. We go through a lot. No one wants to be hated and bashed or killed and beat up on. Courtney Peggs, I believe, said being straight has been a crutch for people that haven't been able to live in their own truth, not the other way around. Being homosexual means going against the grain. Nick Townsend says, here's the thing. We think that getting straight will get us accepted. It's like, would you choose to be white than to be black for acceptance?
No. This chocolate thing got me going. I love myself. I'm happy with my appearance, but if I could make a choice, I would. I'm not gonna lie. I would be dishonest to say, oh, I would choose to have broken my mother's heart. Some people don't know. My relationship with my mother was strained for so many years because of my preference. I wouldn't have chose to hurt her that way. No, I wouldn't have. If I could have changed that, I would have. It's not like people haven't tried to pray the gay away with me. That's why sometimes when people say they were delivered from homosexuality, I believe those were maybe situational homosexual in relationships where maybe you were on drugs and your man was a dealer, so you slept with him to get drugs, or maybe you were in jail and you did it for whatever reasons. No, when this is organically who you are, people can pray, and after they would pray for me, and I mean, I had some of the good tongue-speaking holy rollers talk to Jesus at 5 a.m. Christians pray for me, and afterwards, I was delivered from a lot of things that I did, but I was still gay. So when people say they're delivered, I even went through that this year where I was like, you know what? I want to get closer with God. I want to change my life. I want to do what is pleasing in God's eyesight. Does anyone think anybody wants to live against the grain with God? Maybe with people we don't care what they think. But I want to do what's pleasing in God's eyesight. And after my prayer and my consecration, and I left social media alone for like 5 or 6 days, and I stayed to myself. No, and I really prayed and tried to find myself, and I'm almost 50 years old still trying to figure out, is this right, is this wrong, because I want to do what's pleasing to God. I was still gay. So when people come to me and say that you wish death on me, Kim needs to be careful, because sometimes you can open your mouth and say something against people, and that same thing boomerang back and hit you in the face. And what if your whole family die? What if her whole family dies? Because what people are saying